So this is what it's all about, chocolate, which is made from cocoa. And globally the demand for chocolate is increasing, in particular from countries such as China, India and Brazil. And the demand is expected to increase even further. However, the production of cocoa also is a major factor of loss of biodiversity, both through deforestation and the loss of biodiversity within the cocoa growing systems themselves, through intensification, for example. At the same time, climate change is expected to reduce the suitability for growing cocoa in some of the major producing countries in the world, which may lead to further pressure on forests and biodiversity from cocoa expansion elsewhere. Possible solutions to address the impacts of cocoa growing on biodiversity include both producing more on existing cocoa land to avoid further deforestation and diversifying the cocoa systems themselves. Traditionally, cocoa is grown under a forest canopy, so with a mixture of other trees, and over time farmers have designed those systems to include not just forest trees but other useful trees. This means that cocoa agroforestry systems can support a lot more biodiversity than, for example, a cocoa monoculture. But it may produce less cocoa. Making cocoa production more sustainable is a complex issue. Cocoa growing and its impacts on biodiversity is influenced by governance factors, socio-economic factors and biophysical factors that interact with each other over time. And then now climate change is adding an additional factor to this. And Wageningen is addressing different aspects of this complex issue. So in my research I focus on understanding what are the risks in terms of expansion and intensification of cocoa at the broad scale, even at the regional scale, the whole of West Africa, for example. But also where are the opportunities to grow cocoa more sustainably, taking into account, for example, climate change. And I also look at the system level, so how can we support more biodiversity within cocoa systems and at the same time support more diversification for cocoa farmers in terms of their income, more resilient and more productive cocoa growing ecosystems. Farmers are already managing tree diversity within their systems, both to support their livelihoods but also to adapt to climate change. And we really need to listen more and understand what they are doing and why. The complexity of the issues surrounding biodiversity and cocoa growing are what keep me motivated, I think, to do research to try and address these issues.